3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
All right, welcome to Roots of Reality. I'm your host, Ben Baumann, and today I'm going to be talking about the history of sports and superstition. So for many, many years, superstition and sports have gone hand in hand, often revolving around the idea of luck and performance, where an athlete's superstition may lead them to think that a particular routine or something that they wear will bring them good luck in a competition, or that something might have cursed them. Additionally, athletes also have a routine of embracing alternative medicine in an attempt to aid their recovery from injuries or help their performance as well. So now we'll break down various historical examples of these practices in the world of sport. So just starting off, when it comes to the belief in curses, there are several prominent examples historically. One of the most famous, though, is the curse of the Bambino, which is a famous curse that was claimed to have occurred in 1919 after the Boston Red Sox baseball team decided to sell the legendary baseball player Babe Ruth to the New York Yankees. Which, if you're not familiar with baseball history, spoiler alert, it was a dumb move, given that Babe Ruth would go on to be widely considered as the greatest baseball player of all time and win several World Series championships with the New York Yankees. Anyway, after years of Babe Ruth being successful with the New York Yankees, the Boston Red Sox, since that trade, had struggled for decades as a team and didn't win a World Series. Thus, over time, this gave more and more ammunition to the idea that the Boston Red Sox were cursed because they got rid of Babe Ruth. In turn, it wasn't until 2004 that the Boston Red Sox broke this quote-unquote curse by winning the World Series. Beyond curses, though, there are also general things in sports which are considered to be bad luck. For example, the number 13, which people try to avoid often, even outside of sports. But for athletes, it has historically been a number that was avoided. People didn't want to wear this number because they feared bad luck from it. For example, at the world-famous IndyCar race, the Indianapolis 500 in Indianapolis, Indiana, very few drivers have ever had the number 13. And for many years, the number was even banned at the Indianapolis 500. As a result, no driver has actually ever won the race with this number due to the low number of drivers who have actually used the number 13 in a race. However, there are plenty of examples of successful athletes who wore the number 13. For instance, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, Wilt Chamberlain, former star Super Bowl winning quarterback Kurt Warner, former star hockey player and Stanley Cup champion Pavel Datsyuk, and many more, thus showing that the number 13 really isn't so unlucky, rather it's just confirmation bias at play and people assuming based off of this superstitious belief that it is somehow unlucky even though what number you wear has nothing to do with performance. Unless you've psyched yourself out so much because of the number that you're wearing and you hurt your own performance, but that's really just your own psychology at play. Next, when it comes to sports, there are also various things athletes do because they are considered lucky. For example, the greatest basketball player ever, Michael Jordan, would wear his college basketball shorts from North Carolina when he played for the Chicago Bulls. And star baseball player Wade Boggs would eat a chicken before every game. And then also, star hockey goalie Patrick Waugh would talk to the goalposts because he believed that to be luck. So athletes getting into these routines where they do, the same things again and again and again before games is incredibly common. There are many athletes with very complex routines, which just shows how much superstition kind of goes into play when it comes to athletes. This isn't just like some type of, warm-up you do before a game, but rather just things that really have nothing to do with performance that people are doing because they assume it works. You even see fans partaking in this. For example, at baseball games, you may occasionally see people take their hats and flip them inside out. They call it a rally cap, and they'll wear it when their team is losing a game in hopes that this will help their team come back. So even the fans can get really involved in superstition and buy into a lot of this as well. Now, another thing athletes do because of superstition is thank God for their success, whether during games or after games. For example, you see this especially all the time in baseball when a player thanks God by making a cross and pointing at the sky after hitting a home run, for example, as if God is favoring this person's team over the other. However, I would assume God probably has bigger things to worry about than a baseball game. You would think that would be kind of low on the priority list, but who knows? Maybe God has some money on the game or something. And finally, then there is pseudoscience when it comes to the things athletes believe help them recover from injuries or manage injuries, or just general soreness. For example, you may occasionally see or hear about athletes wearing lines of tape on their bodies called KT tape. Or maybe you have heard about athletes using cupping, this traditional Chinese medicine. You know, you might see this whenever you see an athlete that has spots all over their back, for example, or different parts of their body, which kind of makes them look like they were attacked by a giant squid or something. Also, athletes will dabble in acupuncture or chiropractic medicine. Heck, even some athletes come up with their own guidebooks for how to be successful. For example, Tom Brady's TB12 method, which was a book that he created. And obviously Tom Brady's, widely considered to be the greatest quarterback of all time. Unfortunately, though, the book is actually riddled with lots of pseudoscience and bad advice for athletes, which have no scientific evidence for. For example, drinking unhealthy amounts of water, which is possible, or using fad diets that are not proven to work, or avoiding fruits, and more. So athletes will engage in lots of different stuff, but it doesn't mean it's actually useful to them. And a lot of this stuff is not based in science. So in conclusion, sports is fun and entertaining, but like human society in general, it is littered with pseudoscience and superstition. So remember, just because an athlete believes it or does it, doesn't mean it's true. Because being scientifically literate isn't really a requirement to being a successful athlete, given so much of athletic ability is based on genes and just practicing your sport so you can get better. But these things that you believe in or little things you do that really have nothing to do with that isn't really going to make much of a difference. So with that, as always, remember, billions of years led to you, so make the most of it.